Last round. Fight!
Hello and welcome to the Last Round Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Saunders. Joining me as always, my co-host, Anton Austin. We're at Suggy's gym in Newark to speak with Bailey Sugden. Thank you for having us now.
That's alright, mate.
So what was your first experience fighting in a ring? Was it amateur boxing? Because I know that your dad's been involved in the ACB boxing gym in Newark for a long time.
I have done amateur boxing before, but my first experience was junior kickboxing,
Right.
full contact kickboxing, so with the trousers on and the moon boots, foot pads as we used to call them. Probably about 6 years old when I had my first fight. So yeah.
What was that experience like in the trousers and everything?
It was alright, to be fair, because it was what we've always done, so I was quite used to it, and I had a few sort of when I was 14, 15 in the trousers as well, before I moved on to kickboxing and K1, yeah.
You obviously fought in the Road to Glory tournament.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, knowing kind of what the end goal, you know, it's like getting into glory, it's like a big thing, you know, did you think of any like pressure at all, anything like
that? There was a bit of pressure. I mean, before that tournament, I was undefeated going into that. I'd had one tournament before, because in my first professional fight, I fought in a four-man tournament against Joe Philippe, poor trainer.
Okay.
But the tournament wasn't hard as in physical, because I knew what to expect. It was just an extra fight added onto a four-man. But the pressure was a lot, yeah, it was, yeah.
Were they all in one night as well, the fight?
Yeah, 3 fights in one night.
How do you prepare for something like that? Because it just seems like crazy, like usually just fighting one fight and you've got like an 8-week camp, but how do you prepare for like 3 fights in a short space of time?
We was literally doing that, so when I was sparring, we was doing 3 rounds with one guy who was fresh, and then getting another guy in fresh, and then another guy in
like
fresh.
A Shark Tank,
with a running as well. We was on the Sconce Hills, local partner here, doing 9 rounds, non-stop running it. So it was hard work, but it got me ready for it.
I think it's quite unique, isn't it, how Glory do that sometimes. They have the 2 fights in a night for the, what's it called, is it in the super fight, like where you get the possible for the title shots and stuff like that?
The contenders tournament.
Yeah, so it's quite a big part of their organisation. You've got to be prepared, haven't you, to possibly do that?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think because I've been in 2 tournaments before, I'm very much prepared for that if they do that. I mean, I know they did the one heavyweight 8-man, which was amazing. We went to watch that live with Jamal winning it in the end, and I just think it's a great opportunity for people to get into that top mix, because in an 8-man tournament, it's not just about that one fight. It's who's more durable and ready to have 3 fights in one night. And I think that benefits me definitely more than most people.
Yeah, definitely.
Your first fight of the night was against Liddell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was a good showing, and you end up like putting him through the ropes in like the 4th round or something and getting a stoppage. But is that kind of the plan for those tournaments, to get the fight done, the first fight done as soon as possible, so you can like watch your opponents fight and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it has to be, but obviously at the same time you have to be prepared to go the 3 rounds, because if you go out looking for the knockout and you don't get it, you're going to be really tired after that first fight.
Yeah.
So I think if the opportunity comes, definitely go for it, which I did, because I hurt him in the 2nd round, and I knew in the 3rd round I could get him out of there. But you've definitely got to wait for the right opportunity to do that, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your training a bit, because I saw a video of you doing altitude training with the mask on and the backpack and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you don't really see that in the UK, apart from that like high level boxing and stuff. How do you feel that benefits you a lot, being able to do that kind of training?
100%. I mean, before I fought Cheng Long Zhang in Rotterdam, I was on that machine at least 4 or 5 times a week before that fight in an 8-week camp. And in that fight, after I'd beat him, I felt like I could do 12 rounds on the pads as well. I was on top of the world. I was so in shape for that fight. I was in the best shape I've ever been, and it just puts your training to another level. Like, your recovery improves so much. Like, you're ready to go in 30 seconds rather than the minute that you're allocated in the corner. So
what is it? So it's 3 threes, isn't it? What's the break? Is it 1 minute?
1 minute break.
Yeah. So it's looking onto the Muay Thai. You usually do 5 threes and get a 2 minutes, so it's get an extra minute. So it's quite demanding, that 3 minutes. Yeah.
The thing is with kickboxing, it's a much more high-paced sport. It's like in Muay Thai, they won't clap their hands and tell you to engage in action.
Yeah.
But in kickboxing and K1, you have to be engaged all the time, and that's why I love it, because you don't get into a fight to stand there and look at them, do you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fighters in combat sports who are coached by their dads. So some dads might not have been a professional fighter and stuff. Do you think that benefits you, having a dad that was like a world champion kickboxer?
Yeah, 100%. It's all experience. Like, obviously with Chad being number 2 in Glory as well. Like, I was already set and ready for the stage. I didn't have to learn a lot of the stuff myself. Obviously, I've been in the deep end with a lot of the top guys in Glory and having the most fights rather than any other UK fighter. But having those two guys in my corner, it's helped me no end, because in a position that I haven't been in before, they have. So I've got that experience already.
I think we can see as well, when I've watched some of your interviews, you're always confident. That's one thing. You almost remind me of McGregor with the confidence you've got. You know, you believe you're the best. You believe you're going to be the champion, and I think that's something you definitely need in that organisation with the killers you've got around you. Yeah,
100%. I mean, if you go into a fight believing you're not the best, then you've already lost. You have to go in there with a champion mentality, and that's what I've got. There's cockiness and there's confidence, and I've got confidence and a bit of cockiness as well.
Still at such a young age, though. You're still young, so you know, like most people maybe in the back end of the late 20s, you know, they're looking to be the champion and they believe it, but you at such a young age, you know, you set the bar really high and you believe you're going to get there, so I think that's impressive.
100%. I mean, for me, there's no point hanging about. It's a hard sport to be in.
Yeah.
It's not like any other sport. If you get to 29 and then you start to want to be the champion, too late, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to be a champion now. I ain't waiting until I'm 29, do you know what I mean? I want to be 30 and then I'm world champion, 16 defences, I'm out of the game. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be hanging about getting beat up for the rest of my life.
Kind of touched on it a bit there, but you know, being so young, you tend to be facing guys who are kind of a bit more experienced than you. Like, for example, Asa Tempao, he's like 40 in Lumpini Stadium, had lots of Muay Thai fights and stuff. Does it faze you at all fighting people who have more experience than you?
Not at all. I mean, if Anvar Boy Nazareth, like 96 fights, and the guys he's fought, knocked out Fabio Pinco, who's like one of the best Thai boxers of all time. And I mean, I lost him on a split decision after I'd been out, like going out for like 2 weeks and I went missing. And like now, me being much more dedicated to the sport than that I am, and much more true to the opportunity, and that just means being true to myself really, and like dieting properly and not messing about, not like being in and out of camp. I think now it'd be a different story. To lose to him on 1 point after all that, now I don't think you can make it out of the fight, to be fair.
Also, like, he was the home fighter, when he was in America, and like he had quite a big crowd there and watching. Like, do you feel a benefit when you're the home fighter, like when you fought in Birmingham, when you're fighting local, or does it not matter to you where you fight?
I mean, it's always good, look, to fight in the UK in front of my home fans. That's great, but if as a fighter you can only perform well when you're the home fighter, then you're in the wrong sport. Like, I'd rather go travelling to places like Miami and fight at Madison Square Garden, because who can say they've been and fought there? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're waiting for the opportunity to fight in your home crowd, you're going to be waiting a long time.
I saw when you fight, you wear booster gear, don't you?
Yes.
And obviously some organisations, you know, they make you wear their own stuff. What's the kind of deal with Glory? Do they like let you wear whatever you want to wear? Yeah,
so Glory, basically, as long as your sponsors, they approve your shorts and they approve your T-shirts and that, and check the sponsors over. But obviously the Fairtex gloves is what you wear in the fight, because that's their main sponsor for gloves. I think if a bigger sponsor came along and gave them more money, they'd probably make you wear their shorts as well, a bit like the UFC with Reebok. But I don't think there's any kickboxing brands that have got that sort of money to be able to do that at the minute. So that's why I think you're still allowed to wear your own shorts and your own gear as well.
It's interesting with the Reebok deal as well, because I've heard a lot of, like, not the kind of top level UFC fighters, but kind of the mid card to low card fighters, and they say that it's like lost them so much money because they like don't get a penny from the Reebok deal because they're not on the headline acts. Whereas obviously when they're getting sponsored by, like, you know, the mates and stuff, they're getting like tens of thousands of pounds to wear them on the shorts and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I heard a rumour when Anderson Silva was fighting and it wasn't Reebok, he was getting £800,000 just through sponsors.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you think you lose that sort of money, it's crazy, Reebok must be giving the top boys a bit of money, do you know what I mean, behind the purses as well.
I think he was sponsored by Nike at one point, Silva, wasn't he?
And James was, Yeah,
so it's going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be big money
bills there.
Your fight against Ulyanov, is that his name?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It got ruled a no contest because of an accidental headbutt. What was your views on that? Because it did see it's. I know in boxing, from my understanding anyway, like if there's an accidental clash of heads, it goes to the scorecard, and whoever's winning on the scorecard wins the fight. Why do you think that it got ruled a no contest?
I mean, we learned after the fight that that's in their rules. If there is an accidental head clash, it's a no contest.
Right.
But even though, obviously, I did win the first round on the judges' scorecards, and then. But I think at the time we was thinking like a boxing fight, sort of. We've won the first round. We've won the fight.
Yeah.
And going into that fight as well, there was a lot of stuff that went wrong. I had split intercostal muscles in my chest.
Right.
Was told by doctors not to fight, but that's not me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I always want to fight and put on a show. And even though I had to cut so much weight because I couldn't actually move my arms for about 8 weeks.
Wow.
Because it was really sore here. So I basically trained about 2 weeks for that fight and then took it and then to still win the first round. And I think I would have gone on to win the fight if he hadn't have cried about his eye or, do you know what I mean?
I know he was saying that you headbutted him as well. It was clear as day that it was obviously an accidental clash of heads. Like, I don't know why he was like saying that.
I think you've got to think a lot of fighters are going to be annoyed if a fight gets stopped like that. But he's probably gone back and looked on it and seen the way when he tripped me and stuff that there's going to be an accidental clash of heads. But you sort of get... I think if I was in the same position, I'd be annoyed as well. But some people aren't as tough as me. I can't get caught.
You talked about your fight with Boy Nazareth before. I wanted to kind of ask you about that because it was a really exciting fight to watch, which a lot of your fights are. It looked like you kind of were a bit stunned in the first round.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Was that the knee?
Jumping knee, yeah. I've got a good chin, to be fair, thankfully, because... Well, you see what happened to Pinker when he got it. But look, it hurt me, but I made the referee believe I wasn't too stunned for him to give me a count. So, and that, as a fighter, that's what you got to do. You got to have a poker face because if you don't, then you can't blame the referee for counting. If you go down, you look hurt and you look like a victim, then you're gonna get that count. But I didn't, and I tried to make him believe I was all right. Even though I might not have been. Do you know what I mean?
I was watching it and I thought, wow, that must have rocked him. But then you disguised it quite well, you know. I thought, Yeah,
my legs was a bit stiff for a minute, but I just stood there and thought, it's all right.
In a 3-round fight like that, when it's so high octane, if you might kind of believe or you kind of believe that you've lost the first round, how does the game plan change for like the last 2 rounds?
The thing with that is, I mean, like the Zagari fight, I got ruled a knockdown when I didn't think it was. And I just thought, well, I've got 2 minutes left or a minute left, however long I've got left to make that different, to score a knockdown or score a knockout. So you just got to go in there and think, it's not the end of the fight yet. There's still time to do something. You can't quit and like take a knee or, do you know what I mean? There's still time left to win the fight.
How do you find it against some of the, you know, a few of your opponents you fought have been more Muay Thai based than you fought some with a more European Dutch style of kickboxing? What do you prefer? Is there any particular style or you find one a bit more tricky than the other?
I mean, I love fighting, to be fair, and I like fighting both people, both styles. It's a challenge every time you fight someone Dutch style or Thai style. I mean, the one guy I fought Thai, Tongue Fairtex, that was a bad night for me. And even though it was a split decision, it could have gone either way. That was like the worst version of me that could have been. So he got off lucky that night, to be fair. And like even if it was a bad version of me, a lot of people thought I won that fight. I mean, it was close, but I just take it as a view that I was at my best. So if I'm not at my best, I can't expect to win.
Yeah.
Was your last fight against Morehouse?
Yes.
So obviously that was a really good stoppage in that fight. I asked Nathan Bendon this when we interviewed him a few weeks ago. But after the first time you knock someone down and they kind of get back up, but they're like, you know, turning your back away from you, like trying to, you know what I mean, like trying to scarf her away almost. Like, what's going through your head at that moment? Are you thinking like, fucking jump on him and get him out of there ASAP?
That's definitely what I was thinking. I mean, watching it back, you see more opportunities of what you could have done to make it more of a spectacular finish for half. I'd have just sat back a bit and threw a spinning up kick or spinning back fist. But in that moment where, because obviously it was coming off the Ace of 10 power loss where it was a bit controversial, and in my head, before that fight and before every other fight I have now, I'm going in there with the mentality to knock them out, because the judges can't argue with that. They can't say you lost that fight when they're laid on the canvas. They can't say that. Definitely. So when I'd rocked him, I was like, right, that's it, he's not getting off, and I didn't let him off the hook. And when he was going stumbling back, I was on his case because I thought, this ain't getting taken away from me.
It even looked like the ref. I thought the ref maybe could have even stopped it earlier than he did. I was wondering, is there any like knockout bonuses or win bonuses in Glory or anything like that?
I know there used to be. I don't think there is anymore. They still give like a knockout of the year, but I don't think they give a bonus like they used to.
Right, okay.
But in the UFC, I know you get good bonuses like 50 Gs, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you started doing that, you'd be knocking people out every week, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like life-changing money, though, isn't it? Because I always say, like, in Muay Thai, you do get a lot of people who, you know, is like trying to tap and just score like pointed leg kicks and stuff. And if there was like, say, even like an extra grand on just them winning, not even a knockout bonus, like, it'll make the fights like so much more interesting for the spectator.
100% it would. I mean, you've seen what was his name? The guy in the UFC with that amazing knockout.
Oh yeah.
And he got 200 grand because Dana White said he'd had so many messages. So Dana White had given him that much more, and to him, because he'd have been getting like the same money as me for a fight, because he was low down on the card. So that would have been life changing. Like that would have been the best thing to ever happen to him. He'd be able to buy himself a house or his parents' house or whatever. Like that took him to the next level. Really.
Yeah.
I kind of just asked you before, but not like in the exact same way. But you've obviously fought in Holland and all over America, in Birmingham. Is there any preference on like where's been your best place to fight? I know you said not many people get to fight on Madison Square Garden. Yeah,
I mean that was my debut on Glory, and like that was like so far the best day of my life, to be fair.
Yeah.
Cause being in that place but not like walking in and watching someone. You're walking in as the person performing there, and like people are coming to watch you. It's like it's another level. Nothing else comes close. I mean, the only thing close to it was Rotterdam, because that was 15,000 people in there. It was like a massive arena. And you felt like, I don't know, a singer coming out to do a performance or something. Because like everyone's looking at you, and that was full to the max. Like that was amazing. But just
the fans really do get behind it, don't they? In Holland, they're really passionate about it.
It's their home sport. I mean, we went to the bar after, and like people were coming up and like surrounding me, and Dad thought, oh, it's kicking off here, but they just wanted pictures because they'd seen me. It's on their telly, like they was watching it, and like they knew who I was. So Holland, like I'm a bit of a celebrity over there now. So, like.
We spoke to Amari Diedrich, who obviously was contracted with Glory as well. I don't know about his current situation, but and he said that he's been over to spar in Holland and stuff like that. Do you go over to like other gyms or go to different countries to spar to get rounds in?
Yeah, I go to the Coliseum gym. It's
very good gym. Yeah.
Honestly, the sparring there is another level. I remember when Tajani was there. He's not there anymore, but sparred with Tajani Pastate, number 2 lightweight in the world, and more than held our own with him. Like he's a great guy. We're good friends with him, but like he's a weight above me, and I was giving him problems that he wasn't expecting. So, like it's always good to go there. And me and the Coliseum gym and my dad have really got a good relationship. Dan and Danny, like.
Is that Jariah's gym? Is Jariah still there?
Well, Jariah was there. He's at the Fight Lab now.
Right. Okay.
But that gym, like with Jafar and Michael Duke, and there's a lot of top guys there, and guys my weight that aren't in Glory yet, but that are soon to follow. Yeah. So get a lot of good sparring there, and it's a good contrast to styles, because in the UK there's not a lot of guys that fight like the Dutch guys fight. So if you've got a Dutch guy coming up, it's really good to get over there and get some sparring in.
Yeah, they do go hard as well, don't they?
Dutch? They go for it.
Yeah,
which
really.
is what I like, because that's what I'm like as well. You don't want to get sparring and then someone's like wincing in the first 2 minutes. It's a spar. Spar's supposed to be like a fight, so you have to go for it.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of guys that you fight can often be like quite taller than you or have like a bit more reach advantage than you. I wanted to ask you, kind of, say a younger fighter who might be like in a similar situation, what would be your advice to them, like coming in fights like that?
Get stuck in. I mean, look, the thing is, I'm short for the weight, but I believe I'm very strong for the weight, and I'm a lot thicker set. Even though my arms and my legs might not be as big, my body's naturally thicker and bigger. And I'd just say, look, if you're the same weight as someone, you can't have an excuse, they've got longer reach, they've got this and that. Doesn't matter. They've weighed in the same as you, so they're the same size as you. You have to find a way to beat them. So if that's getting in and moving your head, or if that's out slicking them and letting them overreach and you hitting them with a shot, you do what you got to do to win a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Has there been any communication with Glory during the lockdown period about what might be happening next or anything?
Yeah, there's been a bit. Look, we love Glory, to be fair. I mean, whoever the highest bidder gets the prize, don't they? That's the thing. But we love Glory, to be fair, and like with 9 fights with them, we believe we're on the way to becoming the champion, and I want to get back in that top 10, because after my second fight I was in there, and then having a few tough fights, some good guys, and coming on the end of some split decisions, we're out of it. But I believe I can become the Glory World Champion or any other champion in any other organisation. So.
Yeah. The champion, is it Petch?
Yeah, Petch. Yeah. Petch is a good friend of mine, to be fair. But all I can say is, ever since he saw me on a bit of a tear, he's got a boxing trainer because he knows the deal. Like, Petch knows I'm his toughest challenger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're good friends with Adrian as well as coach. And I mean, he's got a great style and he's got a lot of power in his left leg, but it's got to be a good boxer to come on and beat Petch. But it has to be someone that can hurt him as well as beat him for speed, because if he catches you with a big shot, it's good night. And I mean, you can. I mean, I've got a good chin, but you can only take so much punishment.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to hurt him and be able to skill him and speed him as well. So it's a tough fight for anyone, but I believe I'm the man to take him down.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Thais are having, from Sitajai before he went over to one. They've had quite a lot of success, the Thais, haven't they? In Glory and stuff like that. Why do you think it is they're moving into kickboxing? So many of them now.
Money, to be honest.
It's the money.
I think, because, I mean, in Thailand, I know they don't get a lot, and it is sad to actually see, because being a fighter myself, it's a tough sport. It's not. There's no other sport that comes near. Like all the other fighting styles, it's a tough sport. Like, your body's getting beat up every day. You're working hard every day. It's not like you train once a week and then you turn up and have a match with 10 other people.
Yeah, other teammates.
Like, it's you in there, and obviously you've got your teammates, your coach, and your sparring partners. But when you get in that ring, it's you. And like, if your body's not feeling right, it's your performance that's going to be affected, and not everyone's. So it is a tough sport. So I think that they're definitely moving over to kickboxing because of the money and the exposure as well. I think the exposure is a lot bigger now than what it used to be. Yeah,
I think Glory do offer a lot of, great experiences abroad, overseas and stuff like that. Dubai, Miami, Holland. There's a lot of places you can.
Is there any exclusivity there with, like, when you sign to Glory? Can you only fight in Glory, or are you able to fight anywhere?
So with Glory, I mean, the deal is, if we want to fight on a local show in the UK, we'd have to always get their permission.
Right.
But like, you wouldn't be able to go, say, one championship or Bellator because it's another big organisation. So you can't really do that. But like, if I wanted to fight on my dad's show, Road to Glory, or Superstar Fight League, Fight Max, then I'd say, look, can I have permission? They'd ask me who the fighter was they wanted to fight, when it was, and then if they didn't have anything for me in that time, they'd either say yeah or they'd say no, and then we've got to listen to what they say, haven't we?
Do you have like, when you're in a fight camp, is there any like sponsors in particular that might like help you out to kind of benefit you during the camp? Yeah,
all my sponsors. I mean, Booster is like massive for me, because they send me all my training gear, my gloves, my shin pads, and if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be training. So that really helps out, rather than buying it, because it's getting more expensive. Like,
definitely.
Every
I've
year.
got some Booster gear and it's not cheap.
Big up Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne and Eves, Eves is looking after me at the minute, and I mean, it's great being sponsored by someone like Booster, because it's good gear. It's not just like, I don't want to mention any brands, but it's not just gear that you can put on. It's actually good stuff to wear and practice in, and like, it protects you as well.
Definitely.
Okay, have you got anyone else that you'd like to shout out before we finish? Any other brands or anything like that?
Yeah, shout out to GSE Couriers, Evolution Waste Management, Billio, and Crazier Sports Fights as well. AMJ Watches, shout out Dean Sugden, Chad Sugden, Regis Sugden, and my little sister as well, Effie, and my mum, Karen. And thanks very much.
Thank you for having us down, really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you for everyone watching, we'll see you again soon.